Up next on the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, it's off to Falls Lake for the Collins Marine Bass for Cash Tournament. Chris Brown shows us how Guntersville can deliver during the annual Coaches Tournament in his Biting in Bama segment. We have highlights of the TH Marine BFL Series, South Carolina's division visit to Lake Murray, and we pay a visit to rainy but beautiful Bienville Plantation in Florida. All that, plus the Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight, Strike King Pro Tip of the Week, and plenty more. The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for watching. Let's start today's show featuring the TH Marine BFL South Carolina Division's second of 5 qualifiers on Lake Murray. Here's Tournament Director Leroy Hensley.
150 boats out on the water today, which is really a great number for the South Carolina Division. It is a good regional for these guys. They're all trying to qualify for the regional, going to Lake Norman this year. Fishing is sort of maybe a little sporadic. A couple weeks ago they had some really warm days. The fish started maybe on their pre-spawn, started to move up on the beds, and they had some cold fronts come through, and I think it's actually pushed them back off. What happens today is still going to be a mystery. Overall, I don't know. I'm very optimistic, so time will tell as far as that's concerned.
It's got one in the back of the boat. Looks like a pretty nice fish. All right, how about that? We're gonna make that fish famous. That's what we're seeing here. Is a lot of these fish have not come up on the beds yet, and they're staging out here off these main lake points. As the water warms, they'll move on back into the creeks. But I can actually show you, there's a fish right there that's staging up off this point. There's more fish near the bottom right there that are staging up near this point. And as the water warms, they'll move on back into this creek and spawn. But for the moment, until this water gets right, it's only 59.7 degrees now. Ideally, they like something like 62 to 65. There's more fish on the bottom right there, a couple of fish suspended, and there's 2 or 3 fish, big fish on the bottom right there that are staging up off this major point. And we've got a pontoon boat coming up here. Jamie's coming up on it right now. I'd be willing to bet you he picks up a jig and slides it right up under that pontoon boat. Now he's got perfect boat position now at that pontoon boat to slide that jig right up under there. And guess what? I picked his brain. There goes the jig.
I knew I'd see a 20-plus sack. I didn't know I'd see it this early, Jeff. Yeah. You did good, brother.
Came on in.
Just didn't take no chances. Come on in. He's got 5 worth. 22 pound, 15 ounces, almost 23 pound bag to get us started. Good job, Steve. I guess they'll decide for you, man. That one right there weighs 6 pounds and 4 ounces. So, Steve, I want you to hold it up again. Let everybody see what you got.
It just kind of came together this morning. I was in like pockets or coves or whatever. I fished a lot of points, but I didn't done any good, and it just seemed like it got a lot better this afternoon. And I've only had 7 or 8 bites all day long, but they were good bites. So.
Stay up to date with the BFLs in your area, as well as all the tournaments in and around the country. Just check out the tournaments page on anglerschannel.com. There's plenty more when the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show continues after this break.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, sponsored by Ranger Boats, featuring the Z Comanche, 50 years in the making, by Mercury Marine, quality, performance, innovation, reliability, and by Strike King Lures, celebrating 50 years.
It is such a good night to kiss. It is such a good night to get still beats a good one off it. Progressive helps keep you out there.
For 50 years, Ranger has led the way in innovative, high-performance designs, and we're raising the bar again with a bold new flagship line, the Ranger Z Comanche L Series. These rigs are custom crafted with a passion for perfection and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver domination at every level. The next generation Ranger L Series. Celebrate a legacy, 50 years in the making.
You know, guys, I hate to admit it, but before every tournament, I have to tie one on. And I really hate to admit this, but before the Bassmaster Classic, I really have to tie one on. And if you do what I did and tie one on from Strike King, maybe you'll get what I got, a classic hangover.
Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned bass pro, you're putting the miles on that tow vehicle when you travel around to do your fishing. That's where trailer trip interruption coverage from Progressive comes into play. If you're more than 100 miles from home and your vehicle or trailer is disabled while towing your boat, Progressive will reimburse up to $500 per occurrence for food, lodging, and transportation until you're back on the road. All of these benefits for only $10 a year. Customers are insured for a daily maximum of $100 for lodging, $50 for alternative transportation, and $50 for food while the trailer or motor vehicle is being repaired. Trailer trip interruption is one more way the folks at Progressive get it. They're helping to ensure our lifestyle and make sure we enjoy our time on the water and on the road.
And now our own Chris Brown joins us for his Bitin' in Bama segment.
The 19th annual TOC Kickin' Bass Coaches Classic kicked off Father's Day weekend on beautiful Lake Guntersville. A 140-boat field kicked off the weekend with a Friday afternoon big fish tournament and then a full field 3-fish tournament on Saturday morning. The invitation-only event put on by the Huntsville Hospital and the Orthopedic Center brings coaches and doctors from all across the South together to participate in this unique 2-day event. Coaches from 51 high schools and 9 colleges are represented this year. This is a great event that the Huntsville Hospital and the Orthopedic Center puts on. Jeff Bergstresser, the tournament director, he and his team have worked tirelessly over the years to make this event better and better and better. It's absolutely one of the best tournaments on the lake each and every year. As it always is in June, the weather is hot, 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 and the fishing went right along with it. Highs in the upper 90s with heat indexes over 100. The weather did not disappoint, and neither did the fish, with a number of big fish brought to the scales both days, with several over that 8-pound mark. As last year's returning champion, myself and Coach Larry Morris had a wonderful day on the water. The conditions were very much the same as they were last year. It was hot, the lake was calm, and a little bit of current moving, which made fishing just a little bit better than what it was last year. Coach and I were able to maintain our same fishing spot we fished last year, and were able to come home with the win with 3 fish weighing 18.18 pounds with Coach's big fish of a 7.40. Not only is this a great event for us fishermen, but also for the coaches who can step away from the field, step on the boat, and try their hand at catching some of these Guntersville bass.
Yesterday, you brought me a lightly used rod and reel. Why did you do that?
Well, I mean, for what the reason Jeff called me about the rod and reel made a lot of sense. So I was more than happy to help the kids with rod and reel stuff.
So for the tackle, the storm trailer up there, you donated a rod and reel to help a kid out get back into fishing, right?
Got that right. I mean, ain't nothing like it. I work with the students at Alabama A&M fishing, so I know how it is when you try to get kids on the water. Ain't nothing like it.
Thanks, Chris. As any angler knows, there's always room for one more lure, one more reel, one more rod, one more something to take out fishing. Sportsman's Warehouse is your premier outfitter when it comes to the things you need to be a success on the water or in the woods. Today, we join our own Vance McCullough as he brings us this week's Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight.
Folks, we're here under some
drizzly, cloudy conditions, and you feel like you can get away with anything you want to and throw heavy line and big lures, and the fish ought to be out smashing everything. And I'm putting a little bit of power on them. I'm throwing the old Naked Rage blade, but I'm using fluorocarbon line. You know, people think the fluorocarbon is just a trick for sunny days and tough times and when you need to finesse them a little bit. Really, fluorocarbon goes slap invisible under these conditions right here. There's no sunlight for it to reflect, and the refractive index of it is very close to what it is in water, and it's really much tougher to see under low light conditions and becomes that much more effective. Sometimes you got to throw braid, but anytime you can get away with fluorocarbon line, I just feel like I'm going to get a lot more bites. And the best fluorocarbon on the planet, hands down, is Tatsu. It's made by Seagar. They're the leaders, right out of the package, right off the spool, cast like a dream, strong as it can be. So check out Seagar fluorocarbon, including Tatsu, at Sportsman's Warehouse and sportsmanswarehouse.com.
Up next, we head to northeastern North Carolina and visit with our friends at Collins Marine during their Collins Marine Bass for Cash on Falls Lake. And we'll check in with Strike King pro Greg Hackney talking about the newest bait to get his attention. Then later, we hear from Vance McCullough talking about fishing in Florida. All that and more. Stay with us.
This portion of the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter, by Costa Del Mar, eyewear made with the angler in mind, by TH Marine, quality marine products, and by ARE truck caps, covers, and accessories.
From the dedicated, passionate anglers at G. Loomis, we bring you E6X. We know fishing and know how to make high-performance rods. Each E6X blank features multi-taper technology and action-matched high-grade cork handles, providing perfect balance and sensitivity. E6X belongs in your hand. Feel connected. For more information, visit gloomis.com.
From bass and walleye to crappie and the great outdoors, no one has ever built aluminum boats like these from Ranger. They're packed with standard features. The ride is super smooth, they're whisper quiet and incredibly stable. Check out the difference in quality, performance, and room in a Ranger aluminum design. America's fastest growing aluminum line. No matter what you're after on the water, these rigs are engineered to excel and priced to be yours.
Omar, look. Omar, check this out. Hi, yeah, I was calling to see if you do laser hair removal for men. Notice that my hips are off the ground? And then I'm gonna pike my hips back into downward dog. Hey, the rain stopped.
A bad day on the road still beats a good one off it.
Tell me about that dental procedure again! I can still taste it in my mouth.
Progressive helps keep you out there.
Keeping the sport of bass fishing growing through competitive local tournaments and youth events, our friends at Collins Marine are doing their part with their Bass for Cash series, along with their youth educational series. We caught up with tournament director Jeff Narron.
Our Bass for Cash series takes place in lakes and rivers from central and eastern North Carolina. We have our youth educational series that tags along. This is a stepping stone for these young anglers in middle school and high school to come out and compete on the same bodies of water as their adult counterparts, give them an idea of what the sport is all about, and help them to get, maybe headed toward a collegiate team.
Okay, we're out here on Falls Lake, just north of Raleigh, North Carolina, for Collins Bass for Cash Series tournament. And it's actually a couple of tournaments in one, in that you have the pro side, which is, the boaters and the adults, and then they also, in conjunction, they have a youth series tournament. And what we're looking at right now is a couple of the youth guys. They have a boat captain that runs the boat for them as far as the outboard is concerned, and then the youth are actually running the trolling motor and doing the fishing. The lake level is about normal. It's at, I think, 251. So a lot of the shoreline cover is out of the water. There's a little bit, you see some of this water willow. Most of the fish are offshore on channel swings and points and that type thing is where most of the fish will be caught. Yeah, we're on some guys now that are on the pro side of the tournament, and again they're offshore cranking a ledge. You can see the boats lined up behind them. That channel, the old river channel, runs through. These guys are fishing the channel ledge as well, but they appear to be worm or jig fishing rather than deep cranking like a lot of the guys. The Collins Bass for Cash Series is a season-long trail. The championship, I think, is in late August, and first place in that, Collins and Ranger Boats and Mercury Outboards have got together, and they're the champion of the championship tournament is a Z185 Ranger with a Mercury outboard. So they've got a really, really good trail going on right now.
It was a hot and humid day on the water, but in spite of the tough conditions, there were some nice fish brought across the scales.
You got five alive. Oh, great green. 24.81, 24.81.
We had about 3 or 4 places we ran all day, just bumping back and forth and just picking up one fish here and there. We never did really catch a whole lot of fish. But, average depth was 7 to 12 foot, mostly plastic and jigs.
We hit about probably 20, 25 spots, caught 12, 13 keepers, all of them on crankbait.
Brothers Landon and Camden Insco pulled off their first victory in style by bringing a 5-fish limit to the scales, weighing it at 16.14, including the event lunker tipping the scales at 5.75 pounds.
We started out on ledges and long points and focused on big humps where the water came up around deep creek channels. We fished Carolina reefs and shaky heads and fished where the channels got humps.
What a great program they put on at Collins Marine Bass for Cash, and don't forget, we'll be covering their championship later in the season on another Progressive Bass wrap-up show. We caught up with Strike King Pro Greg Hackney, and he has this Strike King Pro tip of the week.
You know, Strike King, just like every year before, has a whole line of new stuff out for 2019. Probably the bait I'm most excited about is the new Hack Attack Heavy Cover Pad Perch. The coolest, wildest action on a hollow-bodied frog-style bait that I've ever thrown. It is incredible. You know, not only is this bait, again, you know, it's weedless. You can throw it in brush piles under boat docks, lily pad mats, you know, typical frog-type cover. But the cool thing about it is there will not be another hollow-bodied bait that outfishes this bait in open water. It is the craziest action. You just got to try it to see it. It looks more like a wounded bait fish on the surface than any other bait like this I've ever thrown. It is really, truly, I'm just telling you, it's incredible, the action on it. It's insane. Comes in a lot of natural colors. 2 of my favorite here, you know, natural bluegill shad spawn, which is honestly one of my favorite colors. Clear water conditions, you know, fishing for fish that are eating shad. You can throw this thing anywhere. The other cool thing about it is it's got 2 high-quality hooks in it. You know, it's that deal. It's that top water bait, but you can fish it on braid, and you can get those fish in the boat.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, brought to you by Minn Kota Trolling Motors, by Humminbird Electronics, Sims Clothing, and Ed Watkins Marine.
Welcome back, everyone. The state of Florida is certainly known as a bass fishing destination. One of our favorite places to visit is Bienville Plantation in White Springs, Florida. One of the best bass fishing operations in America, Bienville's pristine lakes, land, and accommodations are second to none. A mixed bag of activities such as guided bass fishing, kayak fishing, alligator hunting, skeet, fine dining, and not to mention well-appointed lodging are all provided. In this week's Fishin' Florida segment, Vance McCullough and his son Hunter are back in their kayaks chasing Florida bass.
Bienville Plantation has a well-earned reputation as just a fisherman's heaven, and that it is. But people think you can just come in here and it's automatic and you're going to catch them. And I tell you what, it's real fishing, and fishing offers the option for failure.
So far, I've exercised that option fairly thoroughly. And you have to stop and think. If they're not back in this cove and they're not back in here, it's just like any other big lake. You got to pattern them a little bit. Maybe they're done spawning. Maybe they're back out here on these little drops and open areas back here behind us, the deeper open main lake stuff. And this place is built with that kind of setup in mind, where you've got deeper open waters, you got shallow flat pockets, so you can roll through the seasons and really pattern and learn how to fish. And it's not just fish in a barrel kind of deal here. This is real fishing. Yeah, do the Kevin Van Dam talon grab like that when they got treble hooks in them. That's fine. I'm catching up. We're down, but we're coming back. Oh, glad that one got off. I'd have been embarrassed if y'all seen that one. It would have fit inside my shoe.
Easy.
There he is. There he is. Good fish. Oh. I love to just take my rod and bow up like that and just feel it. Just arm wrestle them just for fun. Yeah, I lose a fish now and then around, but you work so hard to catch one so long, you know. It's fun just to feel how strong they are sometimes. All right, come here. Put that hook in my hand. They are strong too. That's what I was looking for. There he is. Oh, you look like a snake. God. Nice one. Woo! I got a decent one. Alright. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Even in the pouring rain, it's plain to see why folks make Bienville Plantation a bass fishing destination. I don't know, Vance. I think Hunter may have you beat. For more information about events and how to book your adventure at Bienville Plantation, log on to bienville.com. Thanks for watching this week's Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show. As usual, next week we'll cover more tournaments, more insider tips, more of everything you want to know about tournament bass fishing. And don't forget, it's all available 24/7 online at anglerschannel.com. I'm your host, John Byrne. We'll see you next week.
Promotional consideration provided by Carhartt, Bass Mafia, Buckeye Lures, Collins Boating, by Gemini Custom Brands and Fishing Jerseys, and by Rhino Hitch. Produced by anglerschannel.com.